Hey everyone, it's Matt from Zenshop, and again, I've got another update for you about what we're doing for the next release. So today's talk is going to be mostly about emails, because in the next release, emails are going to get quite a big update. We're moving away from Amazon to Postmark, and this brings with it lots of benefits for our users, mostly around deliverability, because we really wanted to improve how often emails get straight to the inbox and never getting into the spam. Some of the problems that users experienced in previous releases was messages were being sent fine, but then occasionally they would end up in the junk mail inbox of the customers, and that's really frustrating. Us switching now to Postmark really improves the domain reputation of zenshop, and really reduces the chance of emails going to spam. So actually, I just wanted to talk about what this involved and the technical challenges that I had along the way doing this. It's still not 100% finished, so you still have to bear with me on some of the things that I'm about to show you, but mostly it's done. So what I can show you now actually is I'll go to the web interface. So this will be the zenshop organization settings for each store. And you can see here there's like different settings that you can configure. But one of them will be in the integrations tab here for email. And in the email section, you can create an email domain. So the email domain is actually going to be specific to the store. So in the past, everyone who was using zenshop had the same email domain. But now we're going to make it so that each store has their own domain, and you can actually configure it a little bit to how you prefer. So for example, if I want to create a new domain here, I can give it a store name like awesome shirts. Awesome shirts. Okay, so that's my store name. We're selling awesome t-shirts, and I'm going to create it here. So what happens at this point? It's kind of cool, but zenshop is going away in the background, and it's doing a bunch of stuff because in order to create this custom domain here for you, involves updating DNS records in the internet, making some MX records and DMARC records, and we're using dnsimple for this, and it's kind of like an API layer on top of DNS. And then we're communicating with Postmark to create what's called a Postmark server, which is their terminology for like the ability to send and receive emails for a specific domain. So this awesome shirts.zenmail.com will be this store's own unique domain for sending and receiving emails. You can see this little spinner here is spinning away. Now, one of the things I'm going to do in the next release is make it so that you don't have to like refresh this page in order to know when it's finished. So we're going to introduce like WebSockets, like I talked about in the previous video. So that's currently waiting for that. And what I expect to happen in the future is it will spin away. When it's finished, it will pop up with something like here saying that the domain is now ready for you. It takes about 5 minutes for this process to finish. And that's mainly due to the propagation of DNS records. It takes a little while for all the things to glue together. But we might be able to get that quicker in future, but right now it's about 5 minutes. But that's okay because you don't immediately need to send emails from your domain straight away. And it'll be part of the onboarding process of any new store that installs zenshop. And I just wanted to talk about like the experience of integrating with Postmark and dnsimple as opposed to Amazon simple email service. So when I first created Zen Queries, with Amazon SES, it sounded like probably the best solution for me at the time. And that was mostly due to the fact that Amazon SES has enormous like capacity for scale of number of emails. And I thought, well, obviously we'll be sending lots of emails. So choose the thing that lets you send the most emails for the lowest cost. But it did come with some problems for me, and that was mostly around the sort of developer experience of integrating with SES. It's quite onerous on the developer, in my opinion, to integrate with SES. Things like attachments, anything to do with the process of getting the email and parsing it and then ingesting it into the API was quite cumbersome. It involved Lambda functions and things like that, and that just created extra moving parts for me in what I actually have a monolith application. So integrating with Postmark has been really on the opposite spectrum on that behalf. It's quite easy to use. The API is very well thought out and clearly documented and very specific. I think anything to do with Amazon is quite all-encompassing and very broad, and you have to wade your way through like lots of documentation in order to figure out what you need to do. So I really highly recommend Postmark. And also, if you're building anything like what I've done here, dnsimple as well, a really good shout out to those guys, because they've created a brilliant API for doing DNS record changes. And in order to do this sort of system, you need to be able to automate the DNS record changes. So actually I might be able to show you some of that. There you go. So look, this is an email from Postmark. So I get these email updates because what it's telling me is that Postmark has verified the DKIM of awesomeshirts.zenmail.com. So these little changes that I'm doing in the DNS records, what they also provide is just a better reputation of that domain, and it signals to other email providers that this is a more legitimate email domain, and there's less likely to be spam from it. So I refresh it, still going. Okay, well, let's just check. I can also even check my database here. So I think it's mostly done. It's probably like one step away from finishing. Can't quite tell, but yeah, okay. It's just doing the last step. So you can see here, there's a bunch of steps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's on this very last one here. And that is creating these webhooks. So if an email bounces, for example, then Postmark will actually inform me that the message has bounced, which is going to be really useful because what I want to do is when you're inside the conversation, let's just see here, for example, I've just done a bunch of test messages here. What I want to be able to do is inside this little chat window, it's going to have several states. So it's not just going to be like message sent. It's going to be message received, message on the way, and then message like delivered, and also we'll be able to do stuff like message delivered but with error, so there might be a bounce, or it could be marked as spam, or we could do stuff like even unsending emails, so we might be able to like have a little buffer where you can send a message, but then you might be able to like recall it as well. So there's a bunch of really cool features that are going to come, not with this next release, but we've definitely got the capability to do it in a future release now. So that's quite exciting. So I did promise an update later on push notifications. They are coming as soon as possible. I just realized that I did need to do some more work on emails to get them ready to go. So I'm going to be doing some more testing and feature work on emails. But they won't take too long, and then I will get back on push notifications and give you an update then. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that today, and really look forward to giving you another update soon. Bye.